Welcome to Keep the Game Beautiful podcast. Each week, I highlight incredible people who are doing amazing things in soccer, the beautiful game. I'm Anna Turi, your host. Thank you for listening. These past few days have been really tough for many. I see so many people who are hurt right now. It's hard to understand why we find ourselves in such a painful place. There is a really big problem with racism in soccer. And it's something I'm actually really interested to learn more about. I've seen lots of different articles and read about players who were discriminated against. It's super important that our game is one where everyone is welcome and always accepted. Last year, I went to a Minnesota United game in Minneapolis. The referee was Ted Uncle, who is a FIFA referee. He was very kind and he gave me a Soccer for All shirt and as a part of the MLS campaign. I have recently been thinking about my last trip up to Minneapolis, and I'm very hopeful that after the virus and after all the pain the city is feeling, I can be back soon. Today's interview is with U.S. Women's National Team Saskia Webber. She does mention that her jersey from the New York Power is in the Smithsonian as a part of the National Museum of African American History and Culture. Today, we didn't talk about race, but she did share that she'd be happy to come back and talk with me again in the future. It is so amazing to not only talk to a goalkeeper of her caliber, but to talk to someone who's helped grow the sport in so many different ways. Today's guest is Saskia Webber. Saskia was a part of the U.S. Women's National Team, winning bronze at the World Cup in 1995, the gold medal at the Olympics in 1996, and the famous 1999 World Cup gold medal. After her playing career, she went on to begin coaching. She was an assistant coach at Rutgers. She did elite-level private coaching and continued to coach goalkeepers at all levels. Saskia is now the volunteer goalkeeper coach at UCLA for the women's team. So would you like to fill in any more gaps that I may have missed?
No, I think you got it all. That's for sure.
So on this podcast, I always start with the same three questions. So first, what does the beautiful game mean to you?
It means everything. It's friendship, family, health, happiness. It's been a part of my life since before I can remember. So I can't imagine my life without it. And everything that it's brought me. I travel. I've made the best friends in the world that I still have. And like I said, family.
What are actions or things you do to keep the game beautiful?
Well, I think coaching, being able to coach at all ages, especially when I coach club and I coach the little guys and girls, and seeing like the happiness in their face when they're on the field, just kind of sharing everything I've learned, being able to share it and give back.
How do you encourage others to keep the game beautiful?
The same way you are, kind of. I mean, we have a podcast and stuff inside the 18 that we do. I travel and give clinics. We got to go to Japan last year and go to all the military bases and teach kids and have them pass on the knowledge that we give them. Just pay it forward.
So I guess let's start at the beginning. When did and why did you decide to start playing soccer?
I started playing when I was like 5, 6, but I did everything my brother did. So I have an older brother, Damon, and he played soccer, so I played soccer. He was a swimmer, I was a swimmer. And my dad was my first coach. And so I just loved it. It's in my I like to say it's in my blood. I'm half Dutch. So my grandfather on my mother's side, my Dutch side, he played professional soccer in Holland. My cousins, and so it was kind of a natural thing to take to.
How did you know you wanted to continue to play at the highest levels?
I think it just kind of happened. I know that sounds strange, but every time I competed, I got better and I got better and I got invited to other teams, and it just kind of grew. It became its own thing, and I just kept striving to be the best I could be, and that next thing I know, I was on the national team, and next thing I was playing in college. And so I think that, as long as I pushed myself to be the best I could be, like, good things happen.
How were you able to deal with failure, and how did you react to failure throughout your career?
I would say that failure was probably one of my biggest motivators through my whole career. Even if you take the 95 World Cup team, when we lost to Norway, I think every single person that was on that team would tell you that losing to Norway in the semifinals was the reason we won in '99, because it just motivated us as a team to never feel like that again, and to push ourselves harder. And it's the same individually. Like, if I would get cut from the national team, I would just work harder, and it was my motivation.
Were you always able to manage failure, or did that come with time?
I think it came with time. I think, the younger you are, it's hard to understand it. But I think with my parents behind me, and good coaches and teammates, I always knew that it would just make me push myself harder. It wouldn't, like, I wouldn't not want to play. I wouldn't stomp away into a corner or be upset that way. I would just turn it into a challenge and push myself.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about your hair and how you dyed it the color.
We did it. A couple of the teams were doing. I think the Nigerian team. A couple of teams were doing, and Christy Pierce, Captain America, her mother brought us red, white, and blue hair paint. So if you look at the game we played in Chicago, our second game, I have my hair done. Tish has her hair done. Danielle Fotopoulos, Lori Farrah, like a bunch of us do. It's just I would wear my hair so tight, and we just made it really prevalent. So mine kind of stood out a bit more, and then it kind of became a superstition. Like, I didn't want it to be a distraction. We were just doing it for the one game, but then it was like, no, you got to do it every game. And it just kind of became its own monster, to say the least. And Christy Rampone was the one who would do it for me. I didn't do it myself. So we would cut out stencils and stuff like that, and we would sit, and she would spray paint it for me. And one time we were in the hotel room in DC, and she was spray painting my hair. We didn't have the window of the hotel open, and we both almost passed out. That wasn't a good moment. But yeah, so it just kind of grew on its own. And it took about 5 shampoos to get out every time.
So often you find goalkeepers have the biggest personality. Why do you think that is?
I think goalkeeper, it's an individual position in a team sport, on a team. And it takes a lot to be a goalkeeper. I know people like to say goalkeepers are, all goalkeepers are crazy and stuff, but I actually think that to be able to handle the pressure of being in goal, that, you're getting scored on, more often than you're the hero of the game. And so being able to, and when you're younger, being able to take that pressure, when you're younger, you play a game, and the game might be 5-4, or you're playing in a goal that's too big for you, and all the other team has to do is shoot high. So I think with that comes a strong character, and being able to deal with that failure and success, obviously, and then being able to lead, because it's a natural captain position. You have to be able to organize, you have to communicate, your team has to trust that you're seeing the whole field, and what you're doing positionally and how to place people. And so that with that comes personality and character and strength. So we're not crazy.
Do you think you can teach personality, or like the fearfulness, or not being scared at all? Or does that come with a person?
That's a good question. I feel that, yes, you can teach the proper technique on how to do something so you're not scared. But in my personal opinion, there is a switch in a goalkeeper that that you can flip, that when it flips on, you know, that person, they don't think of breakaway going down at people's feet. They just focus. And not everybody has that. And that's hard. It's like I said, I can give keepers the tools and the techniques to do things, but there's a switch, and not everybody has it.
What was one thing you wished you could change about your playing career?
I had a great career. You know, I don't have any regrets really in my career. Part of me sometimes, maybe I retired too soon, but then I remember like how I was in a lot of pain towards the end of my career. I had really bad back. So I'm good with it. I won a World Cup, so I'm pretty okay with everything.
So going off of that, with the World Cup and the new Netflix film, could you talk a little bit about that and what it was like to decide to make it into a film?
I think, you know, for really excited. I'm, you know, part of the 99 team. I'm not part of the group, maybe the core group that is helping develop that film. But we've gone through a lot of those, like a lot of, whether it was Dare to Dream, different documentaries and everything. And I think it's the right time. I know it's exciting that everybody constantly loves talking about the 99 team, loves watching that. And now we get a movie. And I really would love Gabrielle Union to play me. That's been my pick. But I'm so excited. I'm excited to see us on the little screen, because I know it's Netflix. I'm really excited to see the story told again from that point of view, and, you know, with producers and everything. It'll be really, really interesting to see if it can be, the energy and excitement of that can be recreated. That'll be pretty cool.
So could you talk a little bit about the years leading up to the 1999 World Cup and just getting recognition for the female side of the game?
Yeah, I mean, the years leading up, obviously we had, you know, we played in the 95 World Cup, small stadiums, a couple thousand people at the game, mostly our parents and everything, you know, and then by the time the Atlanta Olympics hit, because the Olympics was here in the United States, you know, with huge crowds, 40,000. And so, but a lot of people felt that we had those crowds because it was the Olympics, and people are just at the Olympics, so they're going to go to whatever events they can go to. So we didn't really get a lot of recognition for putting people in the stands. And then leading up to the 99 World Cup, the argument, when we were having it here, the argument was that we couldn't fill stadiums. Women's soccer couldn't do that, so we should play in like small stadiums and a couple thousand people, and they even said just play on the East Coast. And, you know, Marla and our organizing committee and everything disagreed. And we did a lot of grassroots. We did a lot of appearances, and we were so accessible that I think, you know, that helped put us out there as well. And, you know, obviously the rest is history. And it changed everything for women in sports. And it was also the same time that Title IX was up for review. So we were under a lot of pressure to perform, to show that what Title IX had given to women in sports. And by packing those stadiums and doing what we did, pretty much, you know, changed history.
What was it like to finally really get recognition for the women's side of the game?
It was awesome. It still is. You know, just whether it was from, most of all from fans, most of all to have young girls and boys have idols to look up to that were female, and I want to be like Mia or like Brandy or, you know, Bri, or Alex Morgan, you know, or Megan Rapinoe. And so now we didn't have that when I was growing up, like, and to be able to put that, and now look at everybody and look at kids and have them look up to you and just want to play soccer and build this game and make it as incredible as it is. It's the greatest gift. It's the greatest gift.
So could you talk about some memories like traveling abroad with the teams and getting recognition while being abroad as well?
I mean, traveling with the team I love traveling. I think my first trip was to Bulgaria, and we were such a good family. And just to be able to explore those countries and places with people that you care about so much. And the other teams in the tournaments would be there. And so we got to be good friends with teams from all over the world and players from all over the world. And it was just one big community. So no matter where we went, whether it was, whether it was France or, Cyprus or Spain, anywhere, it was just a community. And we also got to travel. We got to see things. It wasn't just a soccer field in a hotel. We got to experience the world. And that's probably one of the greatest gifts that I've ever gotten from soccer was traveling the world. And I miss that. That's one of the things when people ask me what I miss most about playing my team, seeing my friends all the time, but also traveling.
So you talked about the family aspect. How did being a family help you when performing on the field?
I think that one of the reasons for our success, I know that one of the reasons for our success in '99 was because of how close we all were. And whether Brianna was starting in goal, I was her loudest supporter on the bench because we were all one. We were all like the last person to go in and the first person to start. Everybody was just as important, and we all respected each other, and we all understood that. And it wasn't like, oh, I'm getting subbed and you're mad and you go sit on the bench upset. You're like, okay, now Shannon, get in there. You got this. And I believe that I really do believe that that's why we won. Sometimes it's not that every single player individually is the best player in the world, but collectively as a team, we were the best team in the world, without a doubt.
Do you ever struggle to coach or help the relationship between the starting goalkeeper and maybe the second or third?
A goalkeeping position is hard because you don't substitute a goalkeeper. And, even at UCLA, Hannah and E, Lauren's starter right now. And so you have to come in and you have to support each other. And you have to come in and compete. And you can't come in with an attitude. You can't come in, if you're not starting, then it's all about you and you're upset. That's not, you're on a team. It's a team sport. And I know that that's the type of goalkeeper that I want on a team. And that's the type of goalkeeper that's what I expect out of any goalkeeper I coach. That whether you're starting or you're second or you're third, you are just as important because everything you do in practice pushes whoever is starting to be the best and vice versa. And so, if I'm coaching you, that's what I expect, period.
So can you talk about this decision to decide to stop playing and begin coaching? When the
WUSA shut down, basically that was right at the end of my career. So I was playing for the New York Power and the league shut down. That was my kind of time to retire. Like I said, I was really struggling with lower back pain and injury. And I just decided that, it was a good time. And I didn't start coaching right away. I took a break for a while, did other things, television, other jobs and stuff like that. And then slowly got that fire back and wanted to be back around soccer. And, I would do privates and stuff. And then I started coaching club, and then UCLA came calling. It's always in me. I took a break, but I'm be a soccer player and a coach for the rest of my life. I know that.
Did you always want to coach growing up, or did you know it was an option growing up?
I didn't want to coach at first. I wanted to take a break. I coached while I was growing up. It was just part of life then. Like you played for the national team on your off time, you coached, but because we didn't have places to play. So then I went and played pro overseas and stuff. So I was still playing for such a long time that by the time I came to the end of my career, I kind of just had to take a pause from it and everything and kind of find that passion back again. But then absolutely, I love coaching. I love seeing the little kids smile when they do something great, and I love being there to help them through it when they do something bad. And so it's a gift to be able to do this.
So I'm going to take it back. You said something at the beginning, maybe around like military when you played with kids.
Oh, we this last summer, we were talking about like last summer it was me and Sharon McMillan, Nikki Shalanga, and we went, and Stacy Wilson, and we went on a military tour of all the bases around Guam, Japan. We just, put on clinics and got to coach the kids for, our military, and we got to tour like ships and submarines and just kind of like give back. And that, to be able to do that, and soccer gives us that opportunity to do that. I know a bunch of my other teammates, Danielle Fotopoulos, and them, they went over to the Far East and went on bases there. That it's kind of like we keep getting those opportunities, and it's awesome. I never thought that I would, get these kind of opportunities from soccer, but I love it.
So could you talk a little bit about the gay games and why you're so passionate about it?
Well, I think back when I was the athlete supporter, like I was the person that came out and did the athlete's oath and everything, it was because inclusion was so important. And, this was before gay marriage was legal, and kind of try to take away that stigma. Like, there's still an issue with male athletes coming out in professional, on a professional team, and there shouldn't be. We're all athletes, that's it. And it gave the opportunity also for a lot of people to compete that don't get that opportunity. We had a team come over from Africa that they would get like stoned if anybody found out that they were gay. And they still took that risk to come and play as a team here and be proud. And, it's important for all of us to support everybody all over the world, no matter what, And I think some of the coolest stories I heard were from the gay games, because I also did some interviews and stuff, you didn't have to be gay to play in it, you know what I mean? But it was like, it was out and proud, and most of the leagues, and so are like, there's like IGLA and stuff like that. And so I had a mother that her and her daughter were really estranged when her daughter came out, and she wanted her relationship back with her daughter. So she joined her daughter's gay swim team, and now they compete together, and it brought their relationship back together. And those stories were awesome. So it was a great time. It was a good time.
Have you seen a growth in the gay games throughout the years?
I haven't been a part of it since the Chicago games. I think the last one was in Germany. I'm not sure, but I think just in leagues around the country, yes. Like I'm here in LA, and I know that whether it's gay softball leagues, soccer, basketball, dodgeball, I think it helped open all those things up for everybody.
I noticed you also talked a little bit about playing abroad as well. I know I'm jumping over a little bit, but
it's okay.
Could you just share some of those experiences and what it was like to play abroad?
I played pro in Japan for 3 years, and it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. First, I got to play pro, and that's awesome when soccer's your job every day. I was over there with 2 other Americans that are still my closest friends till today, Kim Smith and Tammy Piran. Just to be able to live in another country, to experience another culture while playing soccer. We traveled all over the country to become self-sufficient and live in a foreign country with a foreign language, like Japan, was incredible. And to just immerse myself in another culture was great. And you know what? If I hadn't gone and played in Japan for those 3 years, I wouldn't have been on the 99 team. That experience and playing pro and getting all those games in put me on the 99 team for sure.
Would you encourage other young players if they have the opportunity to play abroad?
Absolutely. 100%. There's so many leagues now. I mean, I wish when I was playing that there were so many leagues to be able to choose between England or Spain or Germany or France or South America. Like, that's incredible. Like, we didn't have that. And, like I said, one of my favorite things was travel. And if you have the chance to go to Sweden and play, or to France and play pro, or to England, go. Absolutely go. Have that experience. Because you can only do this for so long. Your body will give out on you. Actually, you can only play, there is a shelf life to playing professional, and if you get that opportunity, go. 100% go.
Was it hard to be away from your family, or were you able to manage?
I think I managed fine, but that's because I traveled for a good majority of my life because of the national team. So I was always away at a camp, or away at a tournament or a game. And so traveling to me, I lived out of a suitcase for a long time. So, and my mother being Dutch, she's a traveler, and my father, so they're just like, go, I did all right. I always miss them, but I did okay.
So I think we may have made it to our last question, and it's a question I always ask. So what do you hope people remember about your impact to soccer and the world?
I hope people always remember that we changed the face of women's sports, that things were a lot different before all that, and we continue to work hard on it. By no means is our journey over. You see that with the movie, with appearances, with us coaching. I hope that as a Black athlete, that my impact is shown as well. Like Bri, it was an honor to have my professional jersey in the Smithsonian. So, I mean, those are kind of things that my grandkids, I don't have kids, but my grandkids, or my nieces, my nephews, they'll see for a lifetime, and their kids. And, we really made a difference. And I know that'll never be forgotten. And that's kind of a huge honor.
Talking with Saskia today was amazing. I got some really good insight from her, and obviously to have a legend of the game take the time to spend with me was pretty darn amazing. One thing that she talks about is the importance of accessibility for her and her teammates, so they can help grow the game with fan appearances and such. Our sport, especially our female athletes, do an amazing job in this way. I've met a couple of the women who were involved with the U.S. women's national team in the 1990s, and there's sort of a special presence about them. And when I look at the 99ers and see how connected they are to serving the game today, it truly is a beautiful game. I have no doubt that in the next few years ahead, the women who are playing for our nation's flag today will go on and do incredible things. They can give back to our sport through coaching, or new clinics, or inventing new products or ideas. It all starts with a deep passion for the game. I hope this week you can take an opportunity to be kind and supportive to someone. Stay safe, and always remember to keep the game beautiful.